Habari gani, Mainduga Nadada. My brothers and sisters, I have one question I would like to pose to you today. And that question is this: what does it take to create wealth, to sustain a living? Have you guessed already? It takes two items: land and labor. Now, the Europeans who came to this country without any land, they discovered it. And what they did was they decimated the people who occupied the land. The next step, after they had the land, was to go to Africa, bring our ancestors back to provide the labor. Now, our ancestors provided labor from sun up to sundown, 6 days per week, 365 days a year, without pay. So this country and what it was doing began to grow and prosper from the cotton, the rum, and the sugar. And as it began to grow, they became the ones who gave the rise to capitalism. This entire country was built up on the backs and labor of African people who were brought here to serve as chattel slaves. But this country was built up on the backs of black people, and then black people constructed this country. And they passed a Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which was nothing but a proclamation. It was not a law, so we were not really freed, if you really understand it. But they just merely made an announcement that we were free, without any substance. They had promised us 40 acres and a mule. They reneged on this and gave us nothing, my brothers and sisters. So here we are, in the 21st century, still with nothing. But we had to start out on an equal line, even though it was tilted in favor of the European migrants who came here. We had to start on the line with them where they had all the resources they need, all the water they need, all the training they need, everything they needed to become victorious and successful. We had nothing, not even shoes to put on our feet. So we started on an unequal playing field. So my brothers and sisters, listen. After giving 255 years of our labor, do you know who reaped the benefits from it? Who has the tangibles from it? The slave master's children has it. It's in the banks, it's in the corporations, other financial institutions. But it belongs to us. And now, my brothers and sisters, they call themselves Christians, worshipers of Jesus Christ, or followers of Jesus Christ. And Jesus supposedly died for their sins on the cross in Calvary. But they must seek forgiveness for their sins. So they ask Jesus to forgive them, while they still have all of our riches, our inheritance, in their banks and other institutions. So my brothers and sisters, there is no forgiveness unless there's some kind of remorse. You see, you can't be forgiven if you're going to do it again. You have to show remorse. You have to show sorrowfulness for doing what you did. So my brothers and sisters, listen to me carefully now. Listen, listen, listen. There's a law called the natural law of inheritance. Everything a generation creates in wealth, artistic endeavors, whatever they create, wherever they make, positive and negative, is passed on down to their descendants under the law of inheritance. So the question we should be asking ourselves is, where is our inheritance? Yes, Jesus Christ to forgive them, and Jesus supposedly forgive them, but are they forgiven? If there's no remorse, and is there any remorse unless they return what they stole from us and fix what they broke from us? Please, don't forget this. They must return what they stole. You see, we're starving. They are sitting on our money and our gold and our silver and everything our ancestors worked for right now and utilizing it for themselves, feeding themselves and feeding their children. And we have nothing. So my brothers and sisters, listen. We must demand reparations, which is simply repair, which means the only way they can repair themselves and us is to return what they stole from us, which comes to $1.5 million for each descendant of the slaves, those Africans who were brought here since 1619 and forward, who gave their labor for 255 years and received nothing. But what we must do, we must demand reparations from them, demand they return what they stole and fix what they broke, or there's a severe consequence. If a demand is not made, there must be a consequence. We must impress upon them our demand for reparations, my brothers and my sisters. Once again, y'all, peace and hotep to you, my Nduga na Dada.